Welcome back. In this video we're going to be looking at creating some line graphs using Excel. You can see my data is here. Perhaps my columns are not spaced exactly as they should be, but there we go. Okay, creating a line graph is very similar to creating a column or a bar chart. Simply select the data that you want to use, insert, and pick line. Again, the first choice is the simplest and as such probably the clearest. These two options are not traditional line charts. Also, the option below is one choice. This is simply where each data point is recognized on the line. In this case they're not, so it depends on what you're doing whether you'd want to use one or the other. This is a 3D option. Especially in older versions of Excel, I find this very difficult to work with. So let's say that simple is best. Once it's clicked, I can click near a corner, grab it, and resize it. Again, I probably don't need at this point this data series, although I'm going to leave it because, as in the last tutorial, we're going to go back and add some data here later. Okay, quick selection under design would allow me to quickly pretty up this particular chart. I can go to layout, I can say chart title. Let's put this one above the chart and that'll push the chart down for us. I'll call this high temperatures first week of June. Okay, again my axis titles, my horizontal title will be days. Now in that particular case I messed up and I missed it, so if you want to get back into one of these titles, just click on it. And you can go in there and directly edit it. Another option, now you can see that I no longer have my chart tools. Just selecting here as a reminder will bring them back. Under layout, you're going to vertical. I'm going to try the second option here and see what this looks like. Okay, so it displays the text in a different way, so that would certainly just be a choice. And I'm going to call this degrees. Well, these are degrees Fahrenheit, so I can say degrees F, but I'd really like to get a degree symbol here. And how can I do that in Excel? Well, there are a couple of ways. The first would be to go to the Insert tab and up the symbol. I'm probably going to change this character set. You can see you have different characters, but it depends on the font that you're using. So by scrolling down, I can find something called symbols. And there you will have a degree sign. Now notice it's got a character code of 176, so if I stick that in there, that's fine. It really doesn't make a lot of sense with this particular layout, so I think what I'll do is go back and change my text to rotated, and now it's a little squished, but you can see that it's better. Let me just make it bigger and that should solve that problem. Okay, degrees with a degree sign. Okay, an alternate way to do it, and I'm currently working on a laptop so I don't have a numeric pad, but if you have a full keyboard with a numeric pad at the right, the way to get the degree symbol is to hold down the Alt key and then type 0176, and when you release the Alt key it will appear. So several ways, you can look them up on the internet if you're not sure for other symbols, but that's basically how you do it. Okay, as with the column or bar chart, we can format this in a variety of ways. We can change the backgrounds, we can change the line colors. Here, I'll click on the line color and then format data series. And here, this is an area where I can actually put in fill markers. I'm going to make the marker like that, and you can see now I've put points where each data point is. So various options, slight differences from the bar chart because these are only appropriate to a line graph. Get rid of that. If I did want to do multiple lines, I would insert one here, and I would say high, low, and let's just do this simply and say for some reason at night it's always 15 degrees colder, which we know wouldn't be the case. But then when I select my data, I just reselect. Remember, you're going to include that blank cell when you have multiple rows. And now I've got 2 lines on my graph, and I can adjust them as need be. Now, if I had, and I'm just going to, for the sake of argument, let's just say at noon equals -2, at 2 p.m. for some reason it's cooler at 2 p.m. The wrong symbol in there. And at 4 p.m. it's going to be even cooler. One more time. Okay, this is not making for a very accurate or interesting graph, but the point here is I want to show you how you could select non-adjacent rows. So perhaps I want the high, the noon, and the 4 p.m. temperature. So in order to do that, you're going to select your data. You're going to start by selecting the first bit of data that you want. Then hold down the Control key, and you can skip over and select non-adjacent rows or columns if you were using columns. Okay, a problem here is that my data is a little too close together to see the different lines, but there you can see them now as we separate them out. One thing I could do under line style is I could make these considerably thinner. And that would let you see them a little better. Line style. Let's make them 2s instead of 1s. That'd be a little easier. Somewhere in between. Okay, here is a case where my graph is probably going to be easier to read a little better if I don't come up from 0. So let's come in here and format my axis. I'm going to say that my minimum is going to be set at 50 degrees because it is summer. And obviously I could have brought it up in the, I'll do that, I'll bring it right up to 60. Okay. So you can see now how we can select non-adjacent rows. This might be... One thing I dislike about some of this styling is that they do in fact keep either the bars or the lines in a coordinated way, like in a blue or an orange or a green. And sometimes the best thing to do here would simply be to do something dramatically different. It's going to make it more visible. Okay, so now I can easily see the difference between the two. Those are the basics of the line graph. If you want to know how to format more of this, more individual colors, etc., or backgrounds or whatever. See the video on bar graphs. It all works the same way.